all. David Cay Johnston, I want to start with you. Trump centered his political career on this idea that he is some tough, savvy businessman. He can get things done. I wonder how you think this week's revelations not only tarnish his identity as a businessman, which I would argue is, a brand, but also a political leader.
Well, Donald's a con artist, and he's always been a con artist. He's a terrible businessman. His own executives back when I was covering Atlantic City were busy leaking to me constantly about how he interfered in the business and costed money. And then, of course, he blamed everyone else for that. And now you're seeing Donald feeling absolutely desperate, sending out Truth Social commentaries in all caps that is screaming in internet language. And it's just going to go downhill from here, Alicia.
Screaming internet language. Congressman Joly, I did not use the term con artist so as not to steal David's fire, but if the term fits, I do wonder, sort of to Glasser's point, why you think the DeSantises of the world are watching and waiting, and what it is they are waiting for.
Yeah, I agree with Susan Glasser. I mean, a terrible 3 weeks. To your point, Alicia, if you just take the last week, the conviction on tax fraud for the Trump Organization, the new Mar-a-Lago documents, and the political loss in Georgia, you almost forget about the week prior when he was wrestling with anti-Semitism and white supremacy.
Good point.
So, I mean, think about that. I mean, this has been a disastrous 3 weeks. I actually would say I take a little different approach, though, than Susan. Susan's absolutely right. I think there are a couple truths here. And a second truth is this. Donald Trump is actually not campaigning. And so he is not putting the heat on Ron DeSantis and Mike Pompeo and Mike Pence, right? The idea of going early for any candidate, whether it would be Donald Trump or Ron DeSantis, to be first out of the gate is to own the field. So not only is Donald Trump not owning the field by being out there campaigning, saying, I am the front runner, this is my nomination, he's actually going in the opposite direction, which is looking weaker and weaker by the week. And so for Ron DeSantis, Mike Pompeo, and others, you just sit back and let him self-implode. The notion that he is not campaigning for the nomination suggests that this might be a narrative where he's really not in it to win it. He's just in it for other reasons, be it protecting himself from prosecution or otherwise.
I wonder, David Cay Johnston, if you agree with that.
No, I think that's fundamentally correct. And the former congressman is correct that you come out first because you want to own the field and keep other people away. Donald was able to get the nomination in 2016 because he picked people off sort of one at a time, as he himself bragged about his ability to do.
As he bragged about many things, Lisa. I mean, one of the sort of stories we followed this week was what was happening. I was on Thursday night and we talked about the possibility of the Trump team being held in contempt. And then by Friday night, you already had the news that Judge Howell had decided not to do that. Joyce Vance was on with us earlier, and she made the argument that perhaps this was Howell trying to give the Trump team enough rope to hang themselves. I wonder if that's how you see it.
It's probably true. I think one of the problems is that subpoena, as Joyce noted earlier, was issued to the Trump office and not to Trump in his personal capacity. What? Well, the reason you don't issue a subpoena like that to Trump personally is because of something called the act of production doctrine. If by handing over documents, that very act would incriminate you criminally, you can invoke the First Amendment. And here, the evidence that would show contempt of the subpoena is itself evidence of criminality. It's the unlawful retention of classified documents or obstruction of justice. So I think the next step for the Department of Justice, which still wants the documents back,
is they want the documents and they want to know that they actually have all of them.
That's correct. And so one of the things I think the department is doing is trying to exhaust all possible alternatives to a new search warrant. And it looks increasingly to me, particularly if they get grand jury testimony that gives them probable cause, that that's where this is going.
David Cay Johnston, I wonder if you think that Trump has learned anything from this week. And to remind us, I mean, Georgia happened this week. So in addition to sort of this slew of legal cases, you also have what I think you can call an electoral defeat.
Donald doesn't learn. It's just the fundamental of who Donald is. He was cooked a long time ago. But I do think that what he's doing, the damage he's doing, is a gift from Santa. Santa's list apparently says the Democrats were very nice this year. because there are three likely outcomes here. Donald gets the Republican nomination. He won't win the popular vote. I can't believe he could win the Electoral College again, but if he gets it, the Democrats probably win easily. If he doesn't get the nomination and he runs as a third-party candidate, which is the biggest nightmare for the Republicans, the Democrats win the White House in 2024. And finally, if he realizes he's going to lose and lose badly, and he tells the MAGA crowd, boycott voting, who benefits from that? The Democrats. So Donald is just this Christmas gift to the Democrats that keeps giving.
Christmas gift. I'm not sure that's what they asked Santa for, I got to be honest.